Good evening and welcome to Poland Daily News. I'm Nicholas Richardson. It's been a week since Ukrainian troops advanced deep into Russia, and the first effects of this counteroffensive may already be seen. More than 70 towns have been occupied and 1,000 square kilometers of enemy territory are under Ukrainian control. Vladimir Putin, in a panic, is redeploying some of his troops from the Donbass to defend Russian regions that the Ukrainians are advancing towards. That is what is left of the Russian criminals as they fled the occupied border post in Sumy, Ukraine, in a panic. It doesn't look much better in Russia either. Ukrainians decorate the names of Russian towns with their colours. We're on the front line and perform our tasks with all our heart and soul. The brave operation of the Ukrainian troops is bringing tangible results. More than 70 localities have already come under their control. That's more than 1,000 square kilometers. The counteroffensive has so surprised the Russians that they are actually not putting up a fight. A furious Vladimir Putin is pulling Russian soldiers fighting in the Donbass to the Kursk region in a panic to confront the Ukrainians marching deep into Russia. The Ukrainian president has admitted that his troops have captured more than 100 Russian soldiers. Ukraine is taking the initiative and turning the situation in its favor. We are proving that we can take control of the enemy and attack on its territory. There is alarm in the Belgorod region because more and more Ukrainian troops are taking over territory there as well. Ukrainians also attacked Russian military base in the Nizhnovgorod region with drones.
I've spoken with my staff on a regular basis, probably every 4 or 5 hours for the last 6 or 8 days, and it's creating a real dilemma for.
According to experts, the battleground line may move towards Kursk in the coming days, which would, at least for a while, distance the Russian barbarians from Ukraine. Martin Shevchak, TV Republica. The echoes of the spy scandal continue to reverberate. As a result of the actions of agent Pavel Rubtsov, Russia may have come into possession of sensitive information. The man, with the help of his partner, had access to the Polish left-wing journalistic community, as well as to influential politicians. As the case could be very serious, it demands immediate action from the government. The president of Poland's National Broadcasting Council, Maciej Świerski, has appealed to Prime Minister Donald Tusk to take all possible measures in connection with the spy scandal. A large amount of data and information from the community of journalists and correspondents, including potentially sensitive or compromising data, has probably come into the possession of the Russian GRU service. If appropriate measures are not taken, it is feared that in the coming years public opinion will be partly shaped by those influenced by foreign intelligence services. Russian spy Pavel Rubtsov was arrested by the Polish security services in the winter of 2022 in the apartment he rented with his partner, Magdalena Hodownik. The woman works with many prestigious European media. She is also well known in the Polish left liberal journalistic community. This rich base of contacts, as well as, probably, the sensitive information obtained, could have been used by Russian intelligence. This necessitates a strong response from the state. It is necessary to develop, especially at the state level, state bodies, tools to remove from public circulation people who are blackmailed by Russian intelligence, because they may influence public opinion and the circulation of information in Poland. The spy's partner is a mysterious figure. In recent days, a lot of interesting information has appeared in the media. The woman was allegedly a member of the informal entry group, that is, the team that illegally took over the Polish public media. The journalist also played a part in Russia's information warfare strategy by directing the propaganda film Red Light, which smeared Polish border guards. The woman also called for the welcoming of illegal migrants. The fact that these people are thrown from one side of the border to the other, beaten, humiliated, hiding in the forest where they are hungry. In the winter of 2022, the woman was accused of aiding and abetting espionage. Nevertheless, for more than 2.5 years, she continued her journalistic career and socialized with influential people. According to my information, she was a regular visitor to the Sejm. Among other things, she spent some time in the Defense Committee, where she was able to establish contacts with people who play a key role in the Polish security system. Thanks to Cezary Gmysz, the public learned the identity of the Russian spy's partner. When the Polish services arrested Pavel Rubtsov, the leftist circles came to his defense, discrediting themselves once again. As a result of the prisoner exchange, Rubtsov returned to Russia. Now that the agent is free and untouchable, the prosecutor's office of Adam Bodnar has sent an indictment against him to the Przemysl District Court. Pavel Błoch, TV Republica. Inflation in Poland is up again. This is the result of the reinstatement of the 5% VAT rate on food and increases in energy prices. Poland's economic growth, which in the second quarter was the highest in Europe, is encouraging. However, economists point out the weak fundamentals of growth and warn that further blocking of investments will significantly slow Poland's development.
As experts predicted, increases in electricity and utility prices led to a rise in inflation, which reached 4.2% in July. Within a month, electricity prices jumped by almost 20% and gas prices by almost 17%. This is the result of recent decisions by the ruling coalition. Well, unfortunately, these wrong decisions regarding the increase in food tax, energy prices and blocking investments, for example in the central transportation port, nuclear power plants, basically removing a whole range of investments. At the same time, jobs in a number of state-owned companies are being terminated. More than 4,000 people may be saying goodbye to their jobs at km² in the near future. A picture of misery and despair is also spreading over the Polish post office. The situation at the company has been described by its president as clinical death, and he has announced the implementation of a voluntary departure program that will cover up to 9,000 people. We will evaluate the employees, change the reorganization, change the organizational structure, and offer selected people to take advantage of the voluntary departure program. Sebastian Mikosz, the current chairman of the Polish Post Office, is the same man who was president of LOT Airlines twice during the previous government of Donald Tusk. It was during his tenure that LOT was to go under the hammer. The change of power in Poland was supposed to miraculously heal the situation in state-owned companies. Meanwhile, it is in vain to look for positive effects of the personnel changes made by Donald Tusk. This is evidenced by the results of state-owned companies. For the last month, Orlen minus 9%, Azoty minus 8%, PZU minus 9%, KGHM minus 5%. Everything is going down. Thankfully, everything stays within the 10% limit. There are some frames though, and that's in a month. Nevertheless, Donald Tusk remains in a good mood. Everyone is surprised by the growth of the Polish economy in the second quarter of this year. It was supposed to be 2.7 and it's 3.2. We're better than all the big EU countries, and we're beating the Germans. Tusk fails to see that the glass is only half full. Poland's economic growth is fueled by a rapid increase in wages and, consequently, an increase in consumption. Such growth fuel will quickly run out. This means that there is a domestic demand, which is the factor that shows the GDP growth of 3%. But this is temporary. Investments are getting shut down, exports are stopped, and in a while, we will see a reduction in GDP growth, because this demand is getting suppressed at the moment. All of this calls into question Poland's readiness for economic crises that could hit us from the outside. Analysts around the world are repeating the same thing. Recession is coming. What does this mean for us? It means that the situation on the capital markets, on the stock exchanges, may also translate into the economic situation in Poland, and in turn, translate into the wallets of Poles. And that's why it's worth asking at such a time, what are those in power doing? And those in power are still plotting visions of raising the retirement age. Will there be no need to raise the retirement age in Poland? This is something I am absolutely not saying. That is, it may happen that the age will have to be raised in the future. I do not rule it out, yes. Admittedly, today, Katarzyna Pełczyńska-Nałęcz stresses that there is no political will to carry out such an operation, but personally, she would very much like Poles to work longer. I believe that it is necessary to bring this retirement age of men and women closer together. In general, and this is my personal opinion, I'm not speaking now as a minister, I'm speaking as a person. I'm very much in favor of equality in all possible areas. And unfortunately, the minister is probably not talking about bringing the retirement age down. Therefore, the possible raising of the retirement age for women can be presented as a vicious battle for equality in the smiling Poland. Maciej Strug, TV Republika.
American singer Taylor Swift will take to the stage in London tomorrow, resuming the world's biggest ever concert tour amid tightened security concerns after her Vienna dates were cancelled last week when an Islamic State-inspired attack was foiled.
Behind the scenes, Taylor Swift's team, the police, concert organizers, and the venue are being extra vigilant to ensure the shows go ahead safely after last week's plot. Chris Phillips, an expert in counterterrorism, said Wembley Stadium is prepared to protect big crowds, and putting on concerts like Swift's Eras Tour are business as usual.
They have performances at Wembley Arena on a daily basis, certainly, every week there are big performers on there. This is business as usual, and the building itself has been adapted to protect crowds. Wembley Way, CCTV, that is incredible there too. So the security measures are already in place. The fact that this incident happened in Vienna just raises the temperature a little bit around security. You may well see more security guards doing more work outside the venue.
Major security improvements have been made since a suicide bomber killed 22 people at the Ariana Grande concert in Manchester 7 years ago.
The Manchester Arena bombing, where a lot of lessons were learned as a result of the board of inquiry. Now we see a lot of close collaboration with the police forces, with the venue organizers, and with security. So they're all acting as one.
There was nothing to indicate that the Austrian investigation would have any impact on events in London. The main suspect in the Vienna incident, who had also vowed loyalty to the Islamic State, was planning a lethal assault among the estimated 20,000 Swiftie fans set to gather outside Vienna's Ernst-Happel Stadium, prompting the cancellation of all 3 shows due to security concerns. The 19-year-old, who quit his job less than 2 weeks before the planned attack, saying he had big plans, has made a full confession in custody, according to authorities. 2 other Austrian youths, aged 17 and 15, were detained on Wednesday, August 7th, over the alleged plot. The 17-year-old, who had been given a job with a company that was providing services at the stadium, has so far refused to give evidence. Fans coming to Wembley will enter through metal detectors and are only allowed to bring 1 small bag. Glass and metal containers, laptops, and umbrellas are all banned.
We refer to it as owning the battle space, right? So that the stadium, you own it. You can wand people. You have metal detectors that they walk through to get there. But the area just outside the vicinity and the transportation nodes, that's where the vulnerability is going to be.
Tailgating, the practice of gathering outside a Taylor Swift show without a ticket, like thousands did in Munich earlier in the summer, will not be allowed, as authorities try to reduce harder-to-control vulnerabilities outside the venue.
And I want to add that we're not also talking about the venue inside, it's also outside is right. So as you know from attending concerts, you have people lining up for hours, right? And it's protecting those crowds as well, so expanding the perimeter.
A day ahead of Taylor Swift being back on stage in London on Thursday, there are plenty of excited but also worried fans who are quite concerned about safety measures during the concerts, nevertheless eager to see the singer in the British capital.
I think it makes you just a little bit unsteady, I think, especially with all the crowds and things, and as much as I'm sure security's like ramped up and things, it does make you a little bit on edge, I guess, with things.
Yeah, she's just phenomenal, really. I don't know if there'll be anyone ever like her again, to be honest, but yeah, everyone took a leaf out of her book. I think, it would be a better place.
Yeah. Upon hearing the news from what happened in Vienna, we were a bit scared to come. We were a bit nervous about it after hearing. But then we were researching about it, and we've heard that they will be increasing the security here at Wembley, and they're double-checking everyone. So it made us feel more at ease about that situation.
Yeah. So we traveled from the States to go to the Vienna shows, and our shows were canceled. Obviously, all of them were. And so we came to London, hoping to still make it happen.
Cheered on by 90,000 fans in London's Wembley Stadium, Taylor Swift will return, fueled by the fearlessness, positivity, heartfelt lyrics, friendship bracelets, and sequined outfits, which have already made her into a global megastar.
That's the news. Thank you for watching. And from me, it's have a good night and a better tomorrow.